Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramkissoon. Thanks again for staying with us, and thank you for inviting us into your homes today. We're now switching focus. You know, we normally deal business and politics in the bacchanal of the day, but we thought we'll end things off on a positive note today. Some youth that are doing their part in transforming our nation. We're facing so much. Are we on a precipice? Are we in a downward spiral? And how do we revert the course of our nation? How do we return to the days when... And what's the good old days, the good time days? Well, the key and the answer does lie within the youth of our country. And we're here to speak with, this morning we're speaking with some youth who are doing their part to change the direction of Trinidad and Tobago, where we can truly be the sweet Caribbean island that we're known as. This morning joining us on set, Pez Robinson, Gitana Burai, and Adam. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm well, thank you.
Hi. Now, we're talking Scarlet41, and I hope that's going to come up on the CG bar in a few minutes. What is Scarlet41?
Well, Scarlet41 is really a youth group, and we're trying to reach out to young people from across the nation. I mean, what we did recently is we're working with ES Madrid FC, Spot, which Adam will tell you later on about, and young people from all across the country and organizations and stuff. And we're taking them around the country to rural Trinidad first and foremost, because I believe that rural Trinidad is the underbelly of the society. We recently took about 36 young people to Cedros. And they got some history, they got to understand what the community was about. And they were able to see for themselves, how we can use, how we can utilize, going to these areas and get something different, experience something different, being taken out of your given circumstance and put somewhere else. Experience Trinidad and Tobago.
Gitan, how did you get involved in this group?
Basically, I'm a member of the Highway Reroute movement, and I live in rural Trinidad. I'm from San Francisco, and when PS approached me with this youth group, this venture, I said to myself I should be involved in something like this, because our plight in the Highway Reroute movement is preserving our natural resources, our already empowered communities, our Urbuch Lagoon, and these things are things that people from all across Trinidad and Tobago, people from Westmoreland, people from Maracas and Joseph, youths in these areas don't have an idea of South Trinidad, of different parts of Trinidad and Tobago that are rural, and they do not have appreciation for what we have in these areas. And I thought, you know what, I would be a part of this, and I would be able to help. Maybe I can speak to them about different areas in rural Trinidad, about the beaches, about the history, and that's how I got involved.
You're here with Spot. You're representing Spot. What is Spot, first of all? It's a very fancy name.
It's called the Student and Professional Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. So basically it came out of an idea from Deshauna Bernard, who is a colleague of mine. And it was just a bunch of us students in the Washington, D.C. area, based how do we connect our students to the diaspora in the region, and how do we connect ourselves to professionals and businesses in Trinidad and Tobago. So that our concept is to connect students, give them the resources, give them information about grants, about job opportunities, and getting them to contribute back to Trinidad and Tobago.
Why did you align, or why did your organization feel the need to align itself with Scarlet41?
Because Pierce and I are friends so well. We have a common vision. We both have a interest in social issues in Trinidad and Tobago. And I think if we look at society, I think we need to connect with different social groups, and we need to connect each other and unite and come along with and work together and come along with new ideas.
And Pez, Adam said that you have a common vision, common ideas. What's your vision? Well, not just for Scarlet41, but for you as a person.
Well, for me as a person, I came to Trinidad Boxing Day last year, and I was just looking around, and everything is really politicized and stuff. And what we want to do is really try to get away from that a little bit and focus on tomorrow tomorrow's future young people. And the way we do is, as Adam just said, we connect young people together, focus on youth-to-youth mentorship. And if we can achieve that, bringing youth together through different means and different organizations, we can really begin to develop a well-rounded young person, and change the course that we have been seeing in Trinidad and Tobago.
Bringing youth together, the mentorship program. How many youth really are involved in this? And the cynics amongst us would say, where are you going to get youth to mentor youth? There's so many other things that they're doing.
I mean, well, that's a good question, and in fact, we were discussing this just before we came on air. And in fact, look at these young people sat here today. We have Adam of Spot, Jitana Budai right here from Highway Route Movement. And, we do have young people already in their given circumstances who are doing something different. And if we reach out to these young people, it's not just any old, young person from off the street that we're dealing with. We are dealing with people who, want to do something different, right? And if we can bring them into the fore and get us working together under one platform, we can really make a difference.
And that one platform is about transforming our country.
Transforming our country.
What do you think are some of the challenges facing our country at this time, from a youth perspective?
For me, I would say lack of communication. Basically, lack of understanding as well. Because the approach that youths have today to things in current and the issues that lie in everyday life, for example, politics, schools, all these different things, they move away from the traditional ways of dealing with stuff, and they move more to social media and things like that. Although there are pros to social media, there are also drawbacks. And I think the youths have moved away from that traditional dealing with issues by communicating personally on that level, seeking the advice of an elder person, maybe not in your home, but in the community. I think they move away from that and try to vent their problems on social media. And that is an issue and a challenge in today's society.
Where do youth get examples, or where do they get mentors from? And I'm talking about the older generation, because you really do imitate what you see. How do you keep yourself insulated from all that surrounds us?
Well, I mean, you can't really keep yourself insulated, really. I mean,
how do you rise above the morass that we exist in?
Well, that's a good question, because, and I guess by doing things like this, we can try to get us away from the conventional way of doing things. And,
I think we need to create like a strong civil society. We need to create people who are able to think critically. If we look at Tocqueville, for example, he said one of the main problems about democracy is that if you don't have a society that's able to question things, then you're going to have problems.
Without strong people, there cannot be strong leaders.
And what I'm saying is, if you actually look at the statistics, you look at peer-reviewed scholarly articles on civil society, countries that have strong civil societies, countries that have, and societies that have people interacting, what you find is that those countries have less crime, they have less corruption, less money laundering, tax evasion, all the ills that are faced in Trinidad and Tobago. This is probably the solution. Yeah. That's why I aligned myself with Pace Robinson.
But when we talk about civil society, and Gitana, you are part of the Reroute movement. In our environment, civil society is seen only as a political pressure group, not necessarily empowering people, but going against the regime of the day.
Well, to be quite honest, I believe that, yes, that is what the general public sees. But like I said before, communication and understanding. I think we don't take the time to understand what is going on and take time to look into issues and look into not behind the picture. Because we're just looking at this image, and we are not looking behind that image to look for information as to why this issue has has come up to par with, asking the government to, change this segment of the highway or reroute it, as the case might be.
But I find that politics has a way, and society in Trinidad has a way of brandishing people, So because you're part of highway reroute or because you're PNM, UNC or whatever, we kind of, you're saying that it's because you're that, you can't really make a difference. And I refuse to accept that. As a young person, I think we need to stand up and say, listen, right, it's not about that. We're trying to change the course of Trinidad and Tobago, and let us stop brandishing each other and labeling us because we are either involved in this, that, or the other. Let us try to put politics aside and work together to transform Trinidad.
We talk about put politics aside, but the structure, and I'm going to ask, as you're all shining examples of what young people should be aspiring to be, changing our society, do you see politics as an avenue to do that? Do you see yourself in a current system saying that, and it's not about your political affiliation, but is it appealing to someone like you, a young, bright individual, to say, I'm going to enter politics and change this country? Do you see politics as the avenue to change Trinidad and Tobago?
Not at this time. Just because the politics is too polarized, it's too adversarial.
It lacks ideology.
That's right.
It lacks a concept of principles. And I think if you don't have principles, if you don't stand for something, then what are you really?
Yeah.
That's right.
If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. Shea Govert there. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the